Hey, this is Chris, keeping real facts over fear. How are you doing today? I've just about despaired of being able to predict when we will reach herd immunity in North Carolina, or, well, which is what I'm keeping track of, right? Or the United States, or the world, or anything, because I don't have enough to go on. I thought I did. We have studies that from Sweden that indicate there were 20 cases for every confirmed case. The CDC over the summer said there were 10 cases for every confirmed case, actual cases. And then they revised that in October, early November to 8 actual cases per confirmed case. But having seen the numbers for the last 2 weeks, when we have peaked on a reported per day figure, 2 days last week at over 10,000. 2 days now. We hit 9,000 again yesterday. I haven't seen the data, but it's data dump Saturday, and so I expect that's going to be at least 9,000, maybe even higher. The 14-day rolling average is just over 8,000. So you think about that. That's 14 times 8 is what? 112,000 cases. So yes, 112,000 cases reported in the last week. Basically, that's what's so great about rolling averages. You can easily compute a time period and tell you how many cases there have been. So, with the lack of available data and everything, it's kind of hard. I don't know what that multiplier is. And so I'm just going to, let's do a self-evaluation, right? I mean, I've been wrong. I was wrong in my initial assumption because I used the Swedish figures, and that assumption said we're going to be done with this by the 1st of December, right? If only that were true. And now my newest assumption is using the 8-to-1 ratio. It's going to be done in early March. Given the case numbers, though, I don't know. I don't know. And so I'm like 0 for 2, as far as I know. Now, I still could be proven right, but I don't have a high degree of confidence in it. But I just thought I'd be honest with you. Maybe I know nobody's hanging on my every word. I'm not that arrogant by far. But I read an article on it's a UK website called Unheard, UNHERD. I'll put the link below in the description. It's really interesting to get a perspective from across the pond. They are in a mess over there, mainly because they haven't invested in their hospital space in forever, and so they've got to be careful that they have a lot fewer beds per capita than we do, which is why we're doing so well, by the way. But there was an article about super forecasters and people, this group of people, I don't know how many in that group there are, probably several dozen, who are trying to get a handle on when is this going to be over. And one of the most important things that they've decided to do is evaluate everyone's predictions regularly to see if those predictions have come true or not. And so then, nobody gets a free pass. In other words, it's like you look at the nightly news and they bring on an expert, and they say these things and they're either right or they're wrong, but nobody ever goes back and says, hey, look, guy, you've been on the nightly news 6 times out in the last year, and what percentage of the time have you been right about anything? And so that's why I don't trust the news, because there's never any follow-up. People they just release these sensational headlines, or somebody says something that's going to get some. It's basically clickbait. Get it on the website, get it clicked on, scare the hell out of everybody. I mean, that's just basically what it is. It's like that's not the way it's supposed to work. You should to have an idea if someone is telling you something, whether or not they actually know anything. That's kind of important. But if they're just being honest and they just don't know, then okay, don't be dogmatic about it. People who are making predictions, like, say, okay, I screwed up there. And so that's all I'm saying here is it's like I have no idea. I could be right. I still could be right, but I have no idea if I am right. And the case and the number of cases, the trend is maybe we have hit that peak finally. I mean, I thought that was at the beginning of December. You know, the case load skyrocketed again. And if the numbers do come down, is it because there's no holidays between now and spring? And even if we get to spring and the case numbers come down because people, why is it? Is it because we are reaching herd immunity, or is it just because people are going to be out more? They're not going to be in those enclosed spaces. I mean, nothing's changed on the ground in North Carolina as far as what people can and cannot do in about 2 months now, except for the closing the restaurants at 10, which, you know, yeah, I guess that does something. No, it's just government policy is being driven by people who aren't fact-checked, or their history of prognostication is not checked. And so that's kind of the danger of just kind of letting somebody come and say something and not have any kind of evaluation of what they're saying, or any kind of evaluation of the things they've said before and their predictions in the past. I think that's my whole point. So we shall see. Now, if I think it's winter time. We are just about a month into winter. We still have 2 more months. We have, I mean, like here in North Carolina, we have another 6 weeks where we can expect really, truly cold weather. And then after that, we stop having that. Of course, we haven't really had cold weather yet. We have not had, I don't think we've had any nighttime lows in the teens yet. So I don't know that really makes a difference, but it has been unusually warm and wet. But we've also had a lot of really nice days, and so it's, all these factors come into play, and so you don't really know. I don't really know. I'm just trying to make do with what I've got. So in the final analysis, what it comes down to is, what is the real ratio of confirmed cases, real actual cases to confirmed cases. That is what the whole prediction model, my prediction model, is based on. What is that number? I'm just kind of guessing. Well, I am guessing, actually. I think it's more like 3 or 4 to 1 at this point, because I think when the number, as the testing rises and becomes more efficient, you uncover more cases, and therefore the number of people who get it and don't know it has to drop. And so I can make that concrete prediction. I think that's a true prediction. What else can I say with some confidence? I don't think that the number of deaths per case is going to rise. I think it's going to remain constant. I think that is what the number is. I think it's 1%, or it's of confirmed cases. So it's 1%, or it's 0.9%, or it's 0.8%. It's going to waver around that figure until this thing is over. And so it is a numbers game, and unfortunately people are going to die from this, and that's just, you just have to accept things you don't really have any control over. That's all there is to it. And so I'll probably redo my chart and assume a 4 to 1 ratio. My feeling is, just having looked at the numbers every week while I look at them every day, but just trying to figure out what's going on, I think 4 to 1, maybe 3 to 1 is probably the actual number at this point. And it may even drop. Well, if we started testing, if we ramped up our testing to 250,000 people on a regular basis, we would know the true number, but it's just hard to say. So that's where I am. Just wanted to be, as realistic, I guess, as I can be. So I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below. Like and subscribe. We appreciate when you do. If you know other resources that I can tap into, I would really appreciate knowing those. I mean, I do a lot of internet searches, and there just doesn't seem to be a wealth of real true information. I mean, I can look and see recycled information all over the place, but there's just not a lot of good info out there upon which to make any kind of real judgment or get any kind of result that means anything. All right. Well, I've rattled on long enough. I already said the comment thing, so we'll see you on the next guessing video.